Well, if you've been following along, waiting for the next thrilling installment of my Sling High Wing build, you probably thought that I fell off the face of the earth. I didn't. But my fuselage nearly did.
You see, it missed the boat. No, really, it literally missed the boat. Right before Christmas, while most folks were watching reruns of Christmas movies, sipping on eggnog and recalling the tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago, my fuselage was sitting quietly at the factory in South Africa, ready to sail, but not invited to the party. This wasn't the fault of Sling Aircraft at all. It was just bad timing. The holidays, global logistics, and container schedules all conspired to keep it landlocked. Eventually, the container, packed with dreams, aluminum, and a whole lot of hope, got loaded onto the MSC Lucy in Durban, South Africa, bound for Long Beach, California. First stop, Singapore. Then on to the port of Ningbo in China, and finally, Long Beach. At least that was the plan. What nobody expected was for the container holding all the Sling parts to multiple customers, including my fuselage, to be offloaded in Ningbo. Why? Good question. Well, the result? A new waiting game. A second ship would have to carry the load the rest of the way. That new vessel, in true cruise ship fashion, seemed to be in no rush. It went on what I can only describe as a world tour, stopping at every exotic port short of Atlantis before finally picking up the container in Ningbo and setting course for California. Once it finally docks in Long Beach, after its long oceanic odyssey, the container still won't be done traveling. It'll take a short hop over to Torrance, California, where the Sling team will sort through what's theirs and what goes on to Binghamton. My worldly long-lost fuselage will be loaded onto a truck and sent on a cross-country road trip all the way to Binghamton, New York. No sales this time, no detours, no exotic ports, just pavement, diesel, and a couple thousand miles of highway. And when it finally rolls into Goodrich Aviation's build center, we can get back to what this whole thing was all about in the first place, building an airplane. Meanwhile, the guys at Goodrich Aviation called me up a few weeks ago and they said they needed an extra set of hands to finish sealing the fuel tanks, the last messy job on the wings. So the plan is to fly up, roll up my sleeves, and dive into the sticky, stinky world of fuel tank sealant. Glamorous? Not exactly. But necessary? Absolutely. With the fuselage almost arriving in California, it was time to head up to Binghamton. This past spring was a challenge for pilots who wanted to enjoy the privileges of flying. Weeks of soggy skies and sideways rain. And when the sun came out, wind conditions that made landing exciting for the pilots as well as the passengers, and made your insurance guy sweat. Regarding the fuel tanks, the standard fuel tanks on the Sling High Wing and the TSI, they hold 52 gallons of fuel. But I didn't come this far just to be standard. I always liked the idea of having more range, so I went for the extended range tanks. 64 gallons total. That's 12 extra gallons of insurance bolted to the leading edge of the wings. You never know when you're going to arrive at an airport and find the runway closed for an emergency, or after you land, the self-serve pump isn't working. With the Rotax engine we're attaching to our high wing, it's going to sip fuel like it's on a diet, just 7.5 gallons an hour. That means I've got about 7 hours of flight time plus a 90-minute reserve. That's well over 1,000 miles of range without going into the reserve. But let's be honest, I'm not going to make it that far. My bladder has got a hard limit somewhere around hour 3, and it doesn't care how efficient the engine is. Alright, so we got this Rotax engine, a pretty versatile little workhorse, by all accounts. It's built tough enough to guzzle down either the fancy 100-octane leaded aviation fuel, the stuff that smells like money burning, or your good old everyday automotive gasoline straight from the gas station. Now you might think regarding airplanes, why mess with what has worked? But we're leaning hard into this automotive stuff, and for two solid reasons. First off, let's talk about the guts of the beast. That unleaded gasoline, it burns cleaner. Think of it like the difference between a pristine kitchen and one after a busy Saturday night shift. Less gunk, less grime. And the folks at Rotax, they've seen it all. So they tell you to swap out your oil every 25 hours if you're feeding it avgas. But hit that engine with Automotive Blend, you can stretch that oil change all the way to 50 hours. That's less downtime wrenching and more time flying. And the second reason? Well, let's just say my wallet's got a say in this too. That automotive fuel, it's cheaper. A lot cheaper. And every penny saved on the ground is a penny you can put towards, well, more time in the air.
That it's spread all the way,
Covering the entire part of the ship.
okay. You just want that edge to be basically slightly going over either side because you want to make sure that it's all overlapping. Okay. You're gonna group that inside of the tank too, right? You're not grouping that out there. You're grouping it outside.
There's something oddly calming about smearing the gray goop onto the aluminum. Sticky, smelly, permanent, but strangely peaceful. People spend time in front of fish tanks to relax. It's called the fish tank effect. Therapeutic even. Watching fish glide through water, no destination, no hurry, no emails. Just a slow, silent rhythm that tells your brain, relax. Nothing matters right now except what's in front of you. Funny thing, I found building an airplane isn't all that different. Sure, it's louder, greasier, and you're more likely to get a cut in your hand every now and then, but the effect is the same. You stop thinking about bills. You forget about all the errands you need to run. Whatever nonsense was swirling in your head before you picked up the rivet gun, it fades. Because right now, your only job is to seal this tank, put in a cleco, pull a rivet. Oh, and not glue your shirt to your elbow with the fuel-resistant epoxy. It's focused, it's physical, and it's real. You get your hands dirty and your head clear. It's not just building an airplane. It's therapy by rivet gun. And when you're done for the day, you might not smell great, but you'll feel better than you have in weeks. Well, that's pretty much it for this episode. And just as I was finishing up the edit, I got the update. The Fuselage has officially landed. Port of Long Beach, June 24th. She made it. By ship, through ports, across oceans, and in a few weeks, she'll make her final overland trek to Binghamton. And that's where the real progress will begin, and will begin to show. The avionics panel, locked in with Midwest panel. The paint scheme, finalized. A surprise for a later video. The vision? Well, it's finally starting to look like the thing my wife and I have been imagining for years. Slowly but surely, she's coming together. One part, one task, one rivet at a time. Thanks for sticking with me. More to come soon.